Hello, third grade. Today we're on our long read for the week. So you need your big reading book. Big reading book is the bigger one that's got the camel on the front. It's orange. You need to be on page 58. It should look like this. Page 58, we've got Gary the Dreamer is our story for this week. Remember, it's a narrative nonfiction, so it's told like a story, but it actually did happen, right? It's nonfiction, meaning it's not fake. It's real. It actually happened. Our characters are real. Our setting's real, etc. Our essential question this week is, how do people from different cultures contribute to a community? On Monday, we read about the new garden, and we read how Kiku and her family helped contribute by helping their community make a garden based on what they knew from their Japanese culture. Today, we're going to learn about a different culture and about the poet and author Gary Soto. We're going to find out about his culture and his community. So I'm on page 59. Follow along with your pointing finger. I was born in April, a month when it rains and rains. Maybe this is why when I was 3 years old, I liked to open my mouth and taste the rain. Also, April is where flowers bloom. Bees arrive out of nowhere. Now, this is an autobiography. So Gary's talking about his life. And it's a type of narrative nonfiction. So it gives facts about his life. He tells readers he was born in April and what he was like when he was 3 years old, right? Those are facts about him. It makes it a narrative nonfiction. Next paragraph. I lived in a small white house. My dog's name was Blackie. My cat's name was Boots. I had a canary just bigger than a big person's thumb. But my bird flew away when the little door of its cage was left open. So sorry, little canary, but I think it was me who left it open. Turn to page 60. I remember my high chair. I remember watching my parents and older brother at the dinner table. When I got a little bigger, I got to sit with them. Most mornings, I ate oatmeal sprinkled with brown sugar. The sugar was like rocket energy. I blasted out of the house ready to play. I played tag with the neighbor kids. I played hide and seek. I played catch with oranges. In our backyard, we had an orange tree. We also had plum, lemon, and apple trees. Lucky me. Anytime I was hungry for a snack, I just went outside and picked a fruit. I didn't have many toys. My army men were pinto beans and pebbles. I played with them in the dirt. I got dirty from playing hard, and it seemed like a giant pepper shaker had sprinkled me with dust. Well, why do you think Gary's using pinto beans and pebbles as his toys? He said his pinto beans and his pebbles were his army men. Right? He doesn't actually have little toy figurine army men. He's using his imagination to think of these pinto beans and these pebbles. Why do you think he was doing that? Well, he didn't have a whole lot of toys, so he had to make up things and use his imagination. Let's keep moving. My favorite fruit was watermelon. After I ate a slice of watermelon, I ended up with seeds in my mouth. The seeds were like my ammo to spit at my older brother. He would spit some back at me. It was sort of like a fun war. The seeds flew all over the place. So if we're thinking about the order things happen in, we know that when he was a kid, he liked to play. He liked to spit seeds at his older brother. He liked to play with his friends. All right, so keep that in mind as we keep moving with our sequence. In kindergarten, I learned my colors. I learned to tie my shoes and to be nice. I like to sing too. My brother said he could hear me from the next classroom. I made my first friend, Daryl. I made another friend, Jose. At recess, we went on the slide. It was like a big, shiny spoon and slippery. Then we went on the swings. It was scary but fun going high and jumping out. Then, when we got on the monkey bars, if I fell, I never got hurt. In first grade, I practiced writing the alphabet. The letters were big and blocky. I wrote my name, G-A-R-Y. Some days, my teacher would have to tell me, Gary, sit still. I wiggled a lot in my chair. I dreamed a lot. I was busy looking at the floor or my hands or out the window. Wow, could that be my canary in a tree? I couldn't pronounce some of the words. I couldn't say sandwich. I would say Sammy. I knew that 2 plus 2 is 4, but what was 5 plus 7? I counted out my answer on my finger, sticky from the peanut butter and jam inside my salmon. Page 64. In 2nd grade, we collected money to help children in Africa. They didn't have anything to eat. I collected pennies, lots of pennies. I noticed that the pennies were the same as me. You see, I was naturally brown, and even browner from running in the sun. I felt like I was giving poor Africa a piece of me. My classmates got taller, but I seemed to stay the same size. I still liked playing at recess. I liked dodgeball, kickball, and foursquare. I would tumble when I played soccer. I was quick. I admire people who are quick and play fair. By 3rd grade, I was a good reader. I loved picture books. The pages were bright and colorful as toucans, those tropical birds with the long beaks. Every week, I went to the public library. I checked out mountains of books. I was still a dreamer. Sometimes I watched ants going in and out of their holes, or I would watch water racing in the curb. The river of water carried matchsticks, leaves, gum wrappers, and those poor little ants. I rescued some of those ants. I put them carefully on my finger and set them on the cement curb. They lay for a while, like weak little shadows. Then they woke up and staggered away. Page 66. He's sitting in a tree. It was fun in 3rd grade. I still stayed small, like those ants, I guess. I was scared of math. Poor me. But reading was what I really liked. I read on the couch. I read in bed with carrot sticks like pencils in my hand. I liked to read in my favorite tree. Once, when Boots came by, I tossed a piece of bark at him. He looked around and meowed. I giggled. I tossed another piece of bark at him. This time, Boots saw me and climbed up in the tree. We sat on a fat limb, the 2 of us. I read him a story about a bird. He licked his paws. The engine inside him began to purr. I guess Boots liked reading too. Page 68. On weekends, my family went to Chinatown. We bought groceries there at the Mexican store. I remember mariachis roving the street. Their sombreros were huge. You couldn't see their eyes, only their hanging mustaches. Their trumpets blared. The guitars strummed. Their violins seemed to weep. The guitarrón thumped deeply. One time, I saw a dog dance to the mariachi music. The dog went back and forth, like he was doing the cha-cha. Every night, I took a bubble bath at our deep tub. The water roared from the faucet as I climbed in. The bubbles rose up like fountains. No, like really pretty clouds. I scooped up the bubbles and patted them onto my face. I pretended that I had a beard. I placed some of the bubbles on my head. Oh, a sombrero! I was a dreamer. I was sometimes in another world. In bed, I covered myself with 2 blankets. I thought all about the day before I fell asleep. So tired. My legs kicked as I dreamed I was running for a touchdown, and the whole school was watching me. Now, beneath this little blue mark, right here, we have a little bit more information about our author. Gary Soto grew up to be an author. He dreamed up ideas for more than 40 books for children and grown-ups. He shares his Mexican-American culture through his poems and stories. All right, so in this story, we learned about Gary, who is a Mexican author and has many different experiences. So we learned about what it was like for him to grow up through his autobiography that he wrote about his life. We're going to talk about this story more tomorrow as we do a worksheet on it, but for today, that's all we're going to do with this book. So you can place this book away, tuck it somewhere safe, and then keep going with the rest of your work for today.